Adam Taxon here with Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein. He is the head of the International Federation of Christians and Jews, which can be found at ifcj.org. And we're going to talk a little bit about his organization. But first, the holiday of Shavuot is coming up at sundown Saturday night, which is May 26th, 2012. Rabbi, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
So let me pick your brain. People may be listening and may not be aware of that much of what Shavuos is. People who are not very religious often don't know much about the holiday, and we have a lot of non-Jewish listeners also. So maybe you could give a little bit of a summary of Shavuos for us, the Festival of Weeks.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Shavuot in English is often translated as Pentecost, the Greek word for 5 weeks, because no, not 5 weeks. That's the Pentateuch, but the 50th day, because the Torah says that for 7 weeks, 49 full days, you should count and link between Passover, Pesach, and Shavuot. The Feast of Harvest. It was a harvest festival in ancient times, and it's the only biblical holiday I can think of that doesn't have any rituals associated with it. But it was a time when the people would bring their produce and the first fruits to the temple, to Jerusalem. They would thank God for it. And we count the days. It's called, the Bible teaches us to count the days of the Omer, where the barley sheaves would be brought. And we link the two between Passover and Shavuot and Pentecost, or the Feast of Weeks, as it's sometimes called, to show, as Maimonides says, that there are two dimensions to freedom. One is the physical freedom of leaving Egypt, the Exodus, but that is not enough till we reach Shavuot, which is the time also that the Torah was given at Mount Sinai. And so this link, this nexus, shows us that really freedom is both a physical and a spiritual entity, and that's one of the main reasons that we celebrate it today. We stay up all night, those of us who can, and we study the Torah, and then in the morning at synagogue, at sunrise, we read all over the world. This is what's being done on the same day. We read the Ten Commandments and the story, the Book of Ruth. And there's just one more thing I would say about the Book of Ruth. It's the very beautiful image that has been taken by so many Christians around the world who are standing with Israel and the Jewish people. And when Ruth says to her mother-in-law Naomi, who tried to get her to leave after Naomi's son, Ruth's husband, died, she said, Amech ami be'elokayech Elokai, your people are my people, your God is my God, whither you goest, I will go, and there I will be buried. There are millions of Christians today who have identified so much with the Jewish people, with the state of Israel, and essentially have made that statement of Ruth, your people are my people, we're in this battle together.
And you, of course,
so it's a holiday that we celebrate, and Christians, by reading the Book of Ruth, can also be a part of it.
Yeah, and you obviously work very closely with Christians. One other question. Obviously, you only do 1 day in Israel while we do 2 days in diaspora, and I should have mentioned that you're in Jerusalem. That's where you live. Cheesecake and dairy products are
on Sunday, so it's a 2-day holiday.
What's that?
this year it comes out on Sunday, Shavuot, and the day before is Saturday is Shabbat. So it turns out that it's a 2-day holiday, Shabbat and then Shavuot.
Right. Well, we're having 3 days, okay. Yeah, but ordinarily it's 2 days of Shavuot and not necessarily 1 day of Shabbos, and sometimes you just get 1 day of it. And I was going to say, over in Israel, is cheesecake the popular thing to eat? Maybe you could just say a few words on why we eat dairy in particular on Shavuot.
There are lots of reasons. It's a custom. It's not a law, but it's customary to eat dairy. One, because Israel and the Torah Israel was described in the Torah, in the Bible, as the land of milk and honey, and so that's one reason. There are other reasons that some people say because if you would have a big meat meal, as we do on Saturdays and on holidays, you would fall asleep. You're more likely to fall asleep, and on Shavuot you stay up all night, so you have cheesecake and light foods. But there are a number of other reasons, but it's in the realm of tradition that we do that. Also in the realm of tradition is beautifying the shul, the synagogue, with produce, with the greens, with flowers, with green grass and things of that nature. Because again, it used to be for the Jewish people a holiday of Thanksgiving. Where we take these items and we bring them to Jerusalem and acknowledge them and all of our blessings as God's blessings. And so we each can do that to acknowledge that which we have, that which we have been blessed with, financially, family, everything that we have, to acknowledge them as God's gifts to ours.
By the way, Rabbi, I was going to say, I don't know if I agree with the logic of not eating meat, because we want to stay up all day. I mean, I find protein to be good for that. However, at my synagogue, the rabbi usually makes this great fettuccine Alfredo, and pasta is much worse if you're trying to stay awake at night, the carbs. But I'm off topic here. Finally, tell us a little bit about your organization, which can be found at ifcj.org, and the current projects you're working on. So if people want to find out more, they can.
The fellowship, I founded the fellowship some 29 years ago, and its mission is to build understanding and cooperation between Jews and Christians, especially the evangelical Christians in America and Canada. We have offices in the U.S., in Canada, in Korea, in Australia. Every week we address through radio all over the world, really, 4.5 million people daily in Spanish and English. And what we do is build support for Israel in the Christian community, all kinds of support from tourism to financial support, to hasbara, to explain advocacy. We have a site, Stand for Israel. So what the fellowship does is it rallies the Christian community, especially the evangelical Christian community, now for 30 years. We are by far the largest. We have an income of $120 million a year, which we give away to projects in Israel, in the former Soviet Union, in Ethiopia. I just came now from a military base that we fund. We fund 250 programs in Israel alone each year in 176 cities. We fund $25 million a year in the former Soviet Union to help elderly Jewish people, Holocaust survivors, children at risk, etc. And so we've become very big, very large, and I would say it this way, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God has blessed us over the 30 years, and we have 1.1 million donors.
Oh, wow.
99% of whom are Christians. We get every day around between 4,000 and 4,500 gifts, envelopes, checks, and we help the most vulnerable segments in Israel and around the world. Our programs, our main programs are Aliyah, Klita, which is resettlement, poverty, and security for Israel and the Jewish people. And thank God we've never had a year that our income was down from the prior year. So we continue to help groups like the Jewish Agency and the Joint, the JDC, and work with the Prime Minister on all sorts of projects, and work with Chabad and different groups in the former Soviet Union, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's a little bit about what we do.
Great. Well, thank you, Rabbi. People can find out more about your work at ifcj.org. I've been talking to Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein. And Rabbi, have a great Shavuos for all 2 days of it. I'll enjoy my 3 days of it.
Okay, well, what we say is don't gain too much weight on that cheesecake. Thanks.
Oh, you know what, Rabbi? Rabbi, do you have one more minute?
Yeah.
I forgot. You wrote something on your website about Memorial Day. I'm just, it totally coincides with Memorial Day weekend here. I'm just wondering if you could say a few words about Memorial Day.
Sure. No, thank you for giving me that opportunity. So many of the holidays that have real spiritual meaning, and I refer to things even like, for Christians especially, like Christmas, or national holidays like Memorial Day, have unfortunately been, I would call it, desacralized. That these are holy days. I would call Memorial Day, which here in Israel is Yom HaZikaron, remembering. These are holy days, and it's fine to go out and have a barbecue with the family and enjoy and go to the park, etc. That's a wonderful thing. But we should really, really remember that we're commemorating it to remember the sacrifice of those who gave up their lives, the men and women in the United States. And in Israel, we have a Yom HaZikaron as well before Independence Day. And it's so sad sometimes to see these holidays observed just on such a superficial level. Yeah.
I was going to say one.
Anyhow, it's something we should all do and take into account, and thank the families and those who are currently serving in the military forces and fighting the battle for America and for our values. We should acknowledge it, respect it, and celebrate it.
I like to just leave one point since we're on this topic. Memorial Day in the U.S. and Veterans Day are two separate things, and it's not a pet peeve of mine, but I just like pointing out that. This is Adam Taxon. I was just interviewing Rabbi Yechiel Eckstein. We got abruptly cut off. No, it had nothing to do with the international phone call. I had not replaced the battery in my recording device, so that's why we went abruptly off there. Anyhow, happy Shavuos, everyone.